Thank you very much for tuning in. So the lack of anesthesia in MAID is ethically outrageous. So MAID is a medical procedure that ends life. Performing it without an anesthesiologist defies basic ethical standards. Any procedure that has the potential to cause suffering must ensure the patient is unconscious and cannot feel pain. This is Medicine 101. So, no monitoring for depth of unconsciousness. Without anesthesiologists, there is no monitoring of brain activity to ensure true unconsciousness. Well, you can't say, oh, the patient didn't scream or anything. Well, yeah, but that's what the paralytic agent is doing. Right? That's the whole point. The paralysis drugs may give the illusion of peace while the patient is internally in agony. All right, so that's the word on the street is that it's extremely painful, more than any pain that you've ever felt in your life, and you can't scream or do anything, and that's even the worst part. And then you just have to wait until death, the sweet release of your life, your soul escaping your body because it's so incredibly painful. I mean, what kind what am I talking about? It's incredible what I'm talking about. It's incredible. Not so much as the other topic. So let's recap here. So we get the Clare Health Centre. Dr. Michelle Dow's the director, and I should say Mrs. because I mean this. What kind of doctor violates the Hippocratic Oath every single day that she comes to work? Man, very sloppy. Not a doctor. Man, this kind of thing is it's just not right. So imagine, right? You're waiting for the sweet release of death because it's so incredibly painful. And how long is it going to take? I mean, it's going to take as long as it takes because you got the paralysis drug, so you can't move, you can't do anything, and maybe at that point you say, "Wow, it's so painful, I changed my mind," but you can't change your mind because the lethal agent. And so the idea is that it burns inside of the veins, and it's so incredibly painful in the lungs. The lungs are filling up with fluid. So I mean that's terrible. So the patients could be conscious but paralyzed. Muscle relaxants paralyze. They don't induce unconsciousness. A conscious but paralyzed patient is trapped in their body, unable to scream or move as they die. This is horrifying. Even if one case of the, even if, and even, and sorry, and if even one case of this happens, it's one too many. But how do we know? We don't know because why? The patient didn't complain. I bet you if any person were to come back from the death and complain to the physicians and surgeons of Nova Scotia, they'd still deny the case based on some sort of a procedural ground or something like that. Who cares? They're dying anyway. This is inhuman. It's an inhuman argument. Dignity in death matters. This isn't about saving money, it's about doing things right. If someone consents to die, they never consent to die in pain and terror, right? That is the thing. I think it's sold, it's false. You have to have truth in advertising, right? So if you're going to say it's a peaceful and dignified death, all right, and it's not, well, they're lying, and nobody's going to say, this is a voice for the voiceless, right? I am being a voice for the voiceless. Medical directors in public health institutions must be held accountable. So Dr. Michelle Dow, as a medical director, or sorry, I should say Mrs. because this is just not right. I'm not going to call her doctor. It's just not right. So Mrs. Michelle Dow, as medical director, owes an explanation for why the Clare Health Centre allegedly administers MAID without an anesthesiology oversight. Yeah. If true, this is medical negligence. Public servants must answer for it. And that's the thing. I think they're getting a little bit too comfortable there. Public servants got to be reminded, they are public servants and they are not our overlords and masters. This is a little bit, they're getting a little bit too comfortable. It was cute at first. Okay, they're pretending they're our overlords and masters, but now it's just getting annoying. So vulnerable citizens are being thrown under the bus. All right, these are the most vulnerable of our society. The elderly, the disabled, and the depressed are often the ones requesting MAID. These people deserve the most care, not corner-cutting procedures. It's not about being for or against MAID. Regardless of your position on assisted dying, the method must be medically sound and ethically defensible. This crosses a red line. It's not about ideology, it's about human decency. So anesthesiologists may opt out morally, but their role is still needed. So personal beliefs don't negate medical responsibility. It's a procedure. If a procedure requires specialized care to prevent suffering, the system must ensure its presence. It is present. It is present. No, it is present. Yeah. It is present. Let's read that again. If a procedure requires specialized care to prevent suffering, the system must ensure it is present. What it is. There you go. It is present. What is present? Well, the anesthesiologist, right? Okay, so he doesn't want to do that kind of ridiculous thing. He doesn't like MAID or whatever. Well, he doesn't like to kill people. Okay, well, he doesn't have to, but that doesn't excuse the fact that MAID requires an anesthesiologist, right? This isn't about transparency, oversight, and justice. This is about transparency, oversight, and justice. Where's the oversight? Where's the transparency? Why are there no reports or audits? The public deserves to know how these procedures are being carried out, and that no one is suffering in silence as they die. This might be happening more than we think. Without transparency or required brain monitoring, there's no way to know how often this happens. How many people have died in agony, completely unable to protest? Well, I think it's a lot, and we don't know the exact number. Maybe they are put to sleep, but maybe they're not, and that's what we don't know. But the word on the street is it's extremely painful. A level 11 type of pain, level 14, 14 out of 10 pain. So the top. The most amount of pain that you could ever imagine, plus plus more, right? So this is the most extreme amount of pain, which is completely unnecessary, right? If you have an anesthesiologist that could eliminate that, and they're too sloppy and they're not going to do this kind of thing because just because I don't know why. So that's what you should be demanding of your medical professional. I'm having a hard time saying that, but you should go there and say, hey, why aren't we administering MAID under the guidance of an anesthesiologist? I mean, this is just basic medicine. This is the way that we should. Should we be killing somebody, an old person or whatever? Should we be killing, an old person? Well, maybe or maybe not. But if you are going to do it, just have an anesthesiologist present. It's not really about if you agree or don't agree. It's not. It's about, how is it done? Well, it's done very, very sloppily. It's done in a sloppy manner. Yeah. But anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. I do appreciate your time and spending time with me here today with this very, very important question. So the question isn't, do I agree or do I disagree, right? Should MAID be decriminalized in Canada or not? I think that ship has sailed. But what's important here is that, we should have an anesthesiologist for every MAID procedure in a civilized society like Canada. If it is civilized. So a developed and civilized country like Canada should certainly have an anesthesiologist present when they are doing such a thing like medical assistance in dying. MAID requires an anesthesiologist. I mean, that is just basic. But maybe they don't want to. I don't know. That's not the point. The point is their role is still needed, and I do believe this argument has merit. So I do appreciate you sticking around. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video.